no time like the present, my friend. We've taken a hiatus for the summer, although I can tell you they were both a reasonable amount of work.
Yeah.
And we got paid well, handsomely, actually.
A weekend
ransom, yeah. So we have been waiting for this day for a long time. It's Thursday, which is not the usual day for talking sports.
You know, and what better way to, I was thinking about it on the way over here, what better way to kick off the two Texas NFL teams play the final preseason game against each other.
In 1974, I saw the Oilers and the Cowboys in the Astrodome. It was an amazing experience. The first time I'd ever seen an NFL field. Unreal.
The Astrodome was, I was
at eighth wonder of the world.
Eighth wonder of the world, indeed.
Oh,
so we've got a games tonight, and that's exciting.
Today, tomorrow, and Saturday.
Thursdays are going to be filled a lot more.
You know, what do we like about Thursday games?
They're early, and you get to see it earlier.
Take good pictures. Yeah. Right. So our pictures are going to be great for the first month of the season. So when the sun starts going down quickly, we're going to get kind of average. But that's all right. So, well, what I thought we might do, we were talking about how we want to do this. Why don't we go through the teams in our area and what we expect to see from them? Because we've been out to practices, we've watched some scrimmages, and we've been doing our thing. So what we thought we'd do is kind of do a brief preview of what's going on.
Yeah, let's just jump in, and you know, we got Bears and Bella tonight.
You hate to say that the first game is an important game. Actually, every game is important. Vela at this point in time, I feel like they looked a lot bigger, a lot stronger. I think that team has really worked in the weight room. I saw them scrimmage Lafayette over there. They did pretty well. They made a few too many mistakes. I think they have a good chance to get a win. I really do. I feel like they do.
It's first year for Steve Muddoking. He was the OC at Memorial.
From what I understand, yeah, so he's been around. I mean, he's a veteran coach. I think that the thing is, you know, taking advantage of a team that was 1-9 last year. Vela was 0-10. Who is going to play better, make fewer mistakes, and come out right? Exactly, because it's relatively easy.
Yeah, totally. And it really is even though Vela's in a brand new school, second year.
They got a new program. They want to start over 1-9.
They do, and Jesse Novato, I think, can make that happen for them.
The second year in a row that the Bears are playing a former secondary guy at quarterback. Now, to me, what that means is there's been a kind of a group of quarterbacks that didn't really pan out as well as you would have hoped. Now, I thought Mancha last year was a very good quarterback, running quarterback. So we'll see how Novato does. I know he's a good football player.
Yeah. On defense, they bring back 7, so that's a good number for, you know, senior starters and stuff like that.
Speaking of defense, man, I like the Vela defense. I've seen them a couple of times, and I'll tell you, there's an end. His name is Joe Gonzalez. He was wearing 11 in the scrimmage. I don't know what his number's going to be. You watch for that guy tonight because he's going to come in and make a bunch of plays from the edge. That guy is, and he's pretty big too. I think Baylor's defense will be the strong point of the team in the early going. It remains to be seen whether they can throw the ball a little better than they did in the scrimmage. I thought they ran well. You see Justin Revilla, man, he's big. The fullback. I had him on the defensive team because that's how I thought he was going to play. He's a fullback and he ran well. He probably had 60, 70 yards. So I like Baylor's chances. They're going to have to pick up a couple of wins here in the early going just to get that monkey off their back. I mean, I would say that it really doesn't matter, but some people are starting to say, well, you know, Baylor's got to win. They're going to win. Relax. They got a good football team, and if they can just believe in themselves and be a little bit more polished. They had some drives against Lafayette, which, by the way, that's a very good 3A team, and they're pretty big. They're going to make the playoffs. I think they shot themselves in the foot with a penalty here, a motion here, a missed block. So, in other words, Michael Salinas is trying to get them to play in the games the way they showed they can play in practice. And I think it's going to be time. I really feel like tonight, I'm picking them to win.
Yeah. I don't know. I think so. I think they can get one.
Well, then they got PSG Southwest, which I would argue is probably another good matchup for them.
It is. That's down the line. That's next week. You're getting ahead of yourself.
I memorized the schedule. On October 31st, Halloween.
We're going to get there. We'll get to that.
Halloween. I'm dreaming of it already.
Across town on the east side in Edinburgh, you've got a game, you know.
The Jags, I think, will take care of Porter relatively easily. They Brownsville Porter tonight, and hope it doesn't rain. I feel like they just need to play ball and get the rotation solidified because it's going to get a lot harder the next week. I like the team. I like Luis Alvarez back at quarterback. He's a big, strong senior kid who can throw the deep ball. I would not be surprised to see Hugo Reyes-Paz catch 2 or 3 touchdowns tonight. I really feel like that they're going to throw a little more than they did last year. The other thing is, Tony Isaguirre, man, say what you want about Ray Ramos not playing this year. He was a great back, and I lament that, and so do they. Tony Isaguirre is for real. He's a 1,000-yard back, and they've got another couple of guys, Alfonso Barrera. You remember that name? Yeah. Big, crunching fullback. I think Jags are going to be fine. The only thing that concerns us in the early going is that the offensive line graduated those 4 great seniors. So now's the time for them young guys to come up and be like those guys were 3-year starters, because it's going to happen. There's going to be some sophomores in that lineup.
Speaking of 1,000-yard back tomorrow night, you got Edinburgh North and Rio Grande City. Now, Rio Grande City is no slouch with a running back.
No.
Costello, he had 1,200 yards last year.
They've got some weapons.
Yeah.
They got weapons. Their problem last year is they didn't stop anybody.
Yeah.
And they're not the world's biggest team. So Edinburgh North is going to line up and they're going to bully those guys at the line of scrimmage. And I feel like as long as things don't go haywire, they should score a pretty convincing victory.
Sure.
Everybody's talking about North this year. And, you know, let's face it, last year they were surprised. They won 10 games. A lot of people said, well, they weren't that good at a 10-win team. What difference does it make? You won 10 games. You know, that's my point.
You know,
they brought almost everybody back, too.
I was at their final game in Kingsville.
Yeah.
Granted, you know, they steal, you know, they did what they did, you know,
right,
and the score was what the score was, but for a few moments there, they really held up with them.
That's exciting. Well, and those kids who played in that game have now been on the field with some first caliber athletes. I think North
had one caliber.
Yeah, I know exactly.
Yeah.
I think North, and this is, you know, we're going to start it off. I think North had a chance to win this district.
I firmly believe that as well. Sherryland, you know, they're going to be wanting.
They're always good.
They want their title.
That's
you know,
right. They got a lot of talent. Go ahead.
You know, Madden, he's doing well. Steve, you know, Londes.
Londes is one of the best players
sensation.
in the valley. Yeah,
You know what I mean?
That's the thing about Sherryland. There's a lot of guys you ain't heard of yet, but they have 3, I'd say at least 2 of the best players, top 10 or 15 players. Richard Cervantes, the lineman, he's huge, man. That guy is a monster. He's amazing. They got some players. Now, here's the deal. Can they make up for the loss of Joey Esquivel? That was. I mean, you know,
it was big.
That's taking the best player off your football team.
They're gonna. I think they can fill that void.
I think they can.
But the fact that he's playing, you know, in another city now, same district, it's kind of cool.
That's amazing. The storyline is good. I don't like the controversy, but it's going to be good.
The storyline, I mean, it writes itself. You know what I mean? But
this is a movie in the making. Let's see. Is Tom Cruise too old? Remember what that movie he was in? Come on.
Which one?
No, what was Tom Cruise? All the Right Moves.
All the Right Moves.
It's great. It's Coal Town of Pennsylvania. That's great.
So Sherry's got Hannah tomorrow. That basically runs down the 4 games we'll do. You said you want to sneak one in on Saturday.
I will. I'll sneak one in. First of all, or let me go back to Sherryland briefly. I really feel like against Hannah, they're not terrible. So we're going to find out a little bit about who these new guys are for Sherryland. By the time we get back here in a couple of weeks, they're going to be right up there. I was surprised to see them at number 2 in the Valley. Yeah. Interesting. I'll tell you what, that's got to make you feel good. You know why? Because that is a statement about how good your program is.
That's exactly what it is, how good your coach is.
That's right.
Your coaches always count for wins.
That's right. Sherryland, Hannah, I think Sherryland, Hannah. Yeah, I'm trying to go down to Brownsville, the Sam's Memorial Stadium, built in 1954, and see Brownsville veterans, the Chargers, against Port Isabel. Yeah.
Sounds like an interesting party, yeah.
And what about EHS? We haven't mentioned the Bobcats.
Bobcats, they've got Memorial.
Do you think that Memorial is going to be a little bit down and out after that injury?
Memorial's got a small problem, but it's a good problem, I think. After I saw him last week, after watching them, Jonathan Sanchez can hold his own.
He's a big kid, right?
He's a huge kid.
Junior or sophomore? He's pretty young. Sophomore,
yeah,
oh my God.
Sophomore, and
who's the other guy's not bad either, right?
His name is Emmanuel Garcia. He's a senior.
I remember him. He's been on the squad. He's a veteran.
He's a senior, and they're in it to who's going to get the starting position. You know what I mean? But
that's good. What's got to happen?
Now the defense gave up 6 points.
Yeah, you said that they weren't happy with their defensive play in the beginning.
Harlingen South, I think, could do that to any defense.
I think it will.
You know what I mean?
Basically,
and I really see Harlingen South being one of the best teams, if not the best team in the Valley.
So in other words, when Memorial, has a tough quarter or half against Harlingen South, it's not because they're not a good defense potentially. It's that South is good.
Exactly. Yeah. And granted, we just talked about Memorial. We didn't mention Trevor Spade, so I think it's
Mr. Fast.
Mr. Fast. That's what you want to call him.
I'm probably not gonna, but the kid is now. He's definitely Mr. Fast. Yeah. Trying to avoid any improprieties here, but it's a natural.
He's gonna get him. I mean, he broke one off for 60, and like if it was nobody's business.
With that line, Pete, it doesn't matter for now who plays quarterback. One of the guys will come on, or they'll alternate them. They'll both be serviceable. You can do a lot of things behind that really good big line that will enable you to progress and not have to be the superstar every 5 minutes.
With that being said, that quarterback, Jonathan Sanchez, I saw.
You got some jukes on for a big guy?
I liked him more. Yeah, he did. He could scramble a little bit. if he gets his timing down with
DJ, the ball player, can just dunk the ball like nobody's business.
With DJ, if they get their timing down, because he put it up there, he was just bringing them.
So what are you saying, Pete? That they're going to score 40 and they may not have to worry about giving up 30? No, I think the defense is going to come.
The defense will hold, I think, for the most part, but the offense is where it's at with them right now.
And let's face it, if you score, the other team is not scoring. So that's a good thing. You keep the ball and grind out first downs and maybe hit a big one. No, I see Memorial as a playoff team. Now, what about Rowe? Rowe's got to play Harlingen South. The paper, who will not be named, picked them to lose 42-3. It cannot be. Can it?
It's, well,
I know South is good.
Last year that was the season opener. This year's the season opener.
Hell of a game, I hear.
Yeah.
24-20.
Rowe's young. I mean, it's a rebuilding year for them. They've got.
But I know Paul and them don't feel that, but technically it is.
Coach Reyes. I mean,
he's good,
let's face it. You lost what we're going. You know what I mean? He graduated. That guy was a playmaker.
Oh, he was amazing.
We're here for the new year. We're here for the new year, and
I think Owens can be really good.
I agree as well.
What they need is for him to get off to a fast track, get 10-0 lead or something. Because I mean, it's the first game. No matter how good you think a team's gonna be, there's going to be some jitters, and you're going to be like, until you get licked, until you run down the kickoff and hit somebody, weird stuff can happen early. So get a lead so you don't fulfill them predictions. Like 42-3, that's a playoff team you're talking about. I don't know, man.
I don't know. I'm not big on the numbers like that.
It kind of made me mad. That's why I'm not rooting for Rowe per se, but I'm thinking,
You think it'll be a closer match?
I figure it will. Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to say I would have picked Rowe, but golly, 42-3, that's like, that's crazy, man. Now, okay, what about McAllen? Who's McAllen at?
McAllen's on the road. They go to Laredo. Yeah.
Strange things happen out west.
Yeah, but I also like that McAllen has, Hover under center.
He's one of the best returning quarterbacks in the Valley. Why is McAllen a playoff favorite? Because they have the only returning quarterback in the district, and he's a good one. Good story in that paper redeemed itself today, and it's not bad.
He is a good quarterback. He throws the ball well. He can run.
He's 824 yards rushing. That's amazing. Yeah.
He's good. Yeah.
And their line is big. You can always count on the McAllens to have big lines.
And having an O-line coach doesn't help. Doesn't hurt.
Right. Exactly. I think that going out there, you're not in front of the Valley Friday Night Lights. You go out and play on Laredo as long as you have a decent trip, get settled in out there, and I see no reason why they can't beat their butts. Yeah. Last year they struggled with them at home until the third quarter, and then they blew them away. I feel like they should do fine. Sure. I think it's a great opportunity for us to finally start learning some new McAllen names. I can't wait to see how they do. Because they're kind of the wild card. Yeah. Got a new coach.
Well, it's the new coach. After the whole whatever you want to call it last year.
I won't call it a debacle. I won't. It was a situation.
It was what it was. It's a new year.
It's hard. It's hard to get rid of somebody who's been there 20 years, man. It's crazy. I hope that the new guy Brewer does wonderfully, and I bet you that he will have a good season.
I honestly think he will. I mean,
Ricky Rodriguez.
He knows the game. He's got the talent. Yeah. You know what I mean. What else can you say?
Ricky Rodriguez has some of the best feet in the game today.
He's gonna have
can get by you and he does those jumps and goes.
Yeah, he's gonna get a lot of yards this year, that's for sure, and touchdowns. They like to punch him right at the end.
Who's gonna be the receiver though? There's no more Cole Yarto in the corner, right? That long legged character. And no more Nick. There's a lot of guys gone.
Yeah, they graduated some seniors, but
Phillip, no more Phillip Cantu. That worries me. No Roman, no Phillip. The 3 or 4 really tough guys in McAllen the last couple of years. Who are going to be those new guys?
Yeah.
And there will be.
We'll find out. Yeah, we'll find out. Yeah. They've got Edinburgh the following week. Yeah. So.
One thing I can tell you is that there will be a Correa. There's always a Correa from McAllen. There's always a defensive back. So you can count on that. It's a dynasty, man, a family.
That's what they're known for.
So we got McAllen, we got Memorial, we got Rowe. Yeah. We've gone through Edinburgh. We got Velas. We got everybody talked about. Is there anything else that stands out as we begin the football season? I'm excited.
No, I'm excited too. The only thing that stands out that it is finally football season.
Well, this summer, listen, we made a living out of the Roadrunners, and gosh, they went away and won the championship, and they didn't even play a game at home. That's a shame, man. I pray for that league, man, but I'm just not so sure. I'm not trying to be ugly. I just, every year it seems to be on life support, and yet it comes back, and I go to the game. Me and about 3 other people. But I mean, I don't know. I hope that it makes it. I just don't know. I don't know. What about volleyball? Volleyball is starting.
Volleyball
started.
You want to get into that?
A little bit, not a ton.
Okay.
Because I know we got things to do and go to games and such. The road team is good. Yeah. That's a good team, man. Maida is such a great athlete, man. She is such a joy to watch, man. She's only a sophomore. She can ball. She can play volleyball. She's probably good in track. I can't remember. I think she is. She's something. And she seems like a nice person, too. She's got a smile on her face. She's real placid, and yet she's a competitor, man. Memorial's got a good team. They had a nice early showings in some of those tournaments, man. They're good. And I think that McAllen's good, too. Shaney Warren, despite a little shoulder difficulty, is coming on. All 3 McAllen teams could make the playoffs, and this is going to surprise you. I think 3 Edinburgh schools have a chance to make it in 30. I cannot see a major league difference between most of the teams in town because they're all pretty darn good. EHS had an amazing start. They beat Donna, they beat EdCats, they won the tournament. You know, they ran into some troubles against Jags in the next tournament, and Economides, without Leah Brown, is playing pretty good.
That seems to be the thing around the campfire there.
Their coach, Sarah, is a wonderful person. She kind of gave me a little hard time because, you know, in the summer I wasn't quite sure whether her team would be able to play without Leah. Well, she informed me in their play against North, which was good, that they'll be quite fine and able to compete.
There you go.
You cannot count the Jags out. They're in the playoff picture. North, you know, the defending champ, 31 wins, they're going to be really good. I'll tell you what I like about the North team. Adrian Cavazos does a great job. I like the fact that they have 8 or 9 kids who can hit. I mean, you know, they have people scoring outside and in. You know, a lot of kids who can score. There's versatility, it's depth, it's a good team. And Clarabelle, 6'2", sometimes she hits the ball so hard that it's just like, boom, the ball is flat. More volleyball, much more volleyball to be talked about. Don't forget about Vela, okay? Because Vela's volleyball is a very cohesive unit. Those girls got it, okay? They're not the world's biggest team, but they play well together. You know, there's not a lot of hip bumping and falling down. You know, they really are a finely meshed machine. I think all the teams in town have a chance. Cherryland's young, but they got a lot of talent.
Yeah.
It's going to be a good district race. Donna's not bad. Watch out for Donna. They're decent.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, it's always a district race. I mean, these teams are good. You know what I mean?
Edinburgh's a great volleyball town.
They've been doing it for years. You know, so once they get to that level, they're ready to perform.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, exactly. They're playing since they're 6. I would say this. You know, Harlingen used to be a volleyball menace, but Harlingen. I think Edinburgh and McAllen have probably taken the lead in terms of the best volleyball towns. You know, McAllen's a great soccer town. Edinburgh soccer, we had an interesting year. It wasn't probably the best overall, but the talent's there. The season is starting. This is actually the start of the entire season,
School year.
School year. That's right.
And there's sports and not other than football.
Are we gonna? Yeah, there's something besides football. Are we gonna then get back to our Tuesdays or Mondays? Or, we haven't really decided. What do you want to do?
I would say Mondays. Yeah, Mondays is a good time to bring this back.
Mondays, and what we're gonna do on Talking Sports? Wrap it up and look forward and have fun and.